it's not a cliche. Find a way to sell that, turn that into a business or whatever, because then you're going to enjoy it. Now, the reason why I say find work and sell it, because people think, oh, if I ran my own business, that would give me all the freedom in the world to do anything that I want. I'd be my own boss. Um, the problem with that is you're not going to have your freedom. You're going to be working more, because if you run your business right and you're getting it off the ground, it better be something you love, because you are going to be working your ass off. So people misconstrue. I tried it. It causes so much more development and time for preparation and that sort of thing. But find what you love, because then it isn't work. And you won't mind putting all those hours in. You won't mind the time that it takes. And people also say, well, I love to bake, and cupcakes are my thing, and I love doing that. And I want to bake them and sell them. Perfect. Okay, so you know what you need to do that. You need the ingredients for the cupcake, the flour, the eggs, and that. But you have to start thinking differently. Are you making a dozen cupcakes a day or 3 dozen? And if that's the case, then you have to start doing the math on how much it's going to cost for ingredients and what the time it is to bake those. And then you have to do the math on that, on how you can somewhat break even or make a profit to pay yourself and your bills. Now you've baked them, they're done. Now how are they getting out to the masses? How are they getting from your home to the public? Okay, you get a pop-up store. All right, so now you've got a beautiful bakery, you've got rent, you've got all of these things. You've got rent, electricity, gas, all of the things that it takes to make and bake cupcakes and have a pristine establishment for people to come into. Okay, now you've got that. Now what? Now how are people going to know to come into your store? So now you have to figure out an entire marketing campaign. How are people going to know about you? Well, you get a Facebook page. How are people going to know to go to your Facebook page and learn about you? You have to be able, so now you're not only baking cupcakes, you're doing the inventory of what it takes to bake them. You've got a way to get out there. You've got a pop-up store. You've got a nice little van that possibly you deliver them on your own. So whether you're doing this baking business out of your home or you're doing it at a pop-up, you've got to figure out a way, how can I get the thing that I love into people's hands? And so in doing so, you believe in these cupcakes so much, which is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. But you need to consider that it could possibly be, maybe, instead of investing all that money and all that time and everything it takes to get that business going, maybe you just start knocking on doors and saying, you've got to try my cupcake, Mr. Baker. And then you start selling that recipe or those cupcakes to one bakery out of your home. And then you start realizing and getting it out there that way. Now, whether you want to branch off from him one day and do your own gig, but I promised you, if you believe in it that much, figure out these different avenues of how you can get your name out there, how you can get your product or service. See, people think that just because they do that so well, that's everything's going to fall into place. And maybe it will. Maybe you have 10 friends that are promoting your product as well. So you've got to think of these things and how that will work. But it starts with that belief in your product or service. If you do not believe 100% that you have the best cupcakes, you're going to struggle. But you're afraid. You might be afraid to have somebody taste them. You might be afraid to put yourself out there. Every day I do this show, I'm afraid. What am I doing? It's a little podcast, but it's something I'm so passionate about and have been practicing since I was 5 years old, writing and telling stories and realizing and keeping my eyes wide open and my ears listening to what was going on around me. I became so sensitive of all of these things, and they came into my soul. I just can't keep it inside anymore. So it's a point where someone who believed in me, on the other hand, and supported me, I now have a studio, a board, a microphone, and all the things that it takes to get my name out there. Afraid, fear, I don't know. I'm just hoping it might make a difference to one. I know that sounds corny, but I am not kidding you. Then I brought my nephew Todd in on Tuesdays. He's got a special circumstance where it's unique to me. So, in addition to the things that I talk about and I want to do, I brought Todd in to reach out to folks who may be struggling with any type of substance abuse. It can be what I had, abuse of the brain, of the mental thought, of getting inside my head and thinking negatively, and that was an addiction. I actually had an addiction, and my addiction were to things like woulda, coulda, shoulda, blame, shame, guilt, causing anxiety within myself, but I had to get over that. So that's where I come from, and why I just decided that the time is now. I mean, I got to do this. And the universe, technology, is given me a platform to be able to do that. Now, where does it go? And that's why I'm asking you guys, if you like it, share it. Let people know, hey, maybe you could help a friend out with this silliness that Bev talks about. So yeah, so I was thinking about those things, and I'm trying to, as I say those things out loud, the entire thing that I just said to you about the cupcake and everything, I did not write that down. It came to me, and actually, it was like a recipe for my soul. How are people going to know about this show? What am I doing to get my name out there? I'm a writer. I write books. I write poetry. How can I get that out there? So it's like almost therapeutic, where I'm talking to myself as well. So, fantastic Fridays, fear, getting over that, walking through it. Sometimes it is that one phrase where you had to walk through the fire to get there. It does burn. It's going to burn, and getting there might leave you a scar. Okay, but before the scar is a blister, and that hurts. That hurts. But as soon as you blister, the reason why things are happening that way is everybody's rushing to the scene of the crime, and they're trying to help out. So your body goes into this automatic healing mechanism. But unless you walk through the fire, unless you give it a go, there's a chance you won't heal, because you are holding yourself back. So it might even be a situation where we are in advertising sales. You've got all this prepared. You put together all these numbers. It's a bigger sale than you've ever thought of before, and you're just so afraid to make that call. And what is the biggest fear you have of making that call? I know what it is. You're afraid they're going to say no. You're afraid they're going to say no, not right now. You're afraid they're going to say no, we've met, and they're not going to move forward. And you sit there and you wring your hands, and you're afraid to make 10 calls or that one call. And you're wringing your hands, and because you're afraid. You're afraid of what? The big word no? No is your second favorite word in sales. If that is not your second favorite word, you need to find another occupation, because no is part of it. We're crazy. We're salespeople. We get told no for a living. Yes being our favorite. But yes doesn't come easy in any given situation in your life. It often does not. No. I like that. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate that. Mr. Potential Client, I appreciate that. And then you come back with asking him a very tender, deep-hearted question that you're also afraid to ask. And it's, I understand. I knew that there was going to be a couple of ways that this could go. You were either going to want to move forward or you don't. Why do you not want to move forward with this? Ooh, that's scary. He may say it's just because we're not interested, whatever. He dodges it. But you know what? I got to be honest with you, Mr. Potential Client. I put a lot of time in this. I customized this for you. I am following up with you because I believe in this. This is something I think will really help you. This is something I customized just for you. And I think it's something that really will work. I understand if you don't want to do it. I'm just curious as to why. That's transparency. That's honesty. That's you can use that methodology in relationships too. I try to run my life on a daily basis, not asking yes and no questions. Because if you ask a yes or a no question, where do you go from there? Is this something you'd be interested in? Abolish that. Have you had a chance to look at what I sent you? Burn that. Set it on fire. Never ask that question. Instead, you're looking forward to talking to them about the information they had sent you, that you had sent them. And open it up with one of your benefit quality statements that you have preparation. So whether you're a man or a woman that's a fantastic baker of cupcakes, and you are trying to pitch a bakery store to carry your line, you have to be prepared for the fact that, no, I've got more cupcakes than I can handle. I don't want it here. Oh, okay, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you so much. Here's why I approached you, Mr. Bakery. Because I felt that this would be a wonderful complement to what you're already doing. I'm not competing with your cupcakes because I designed them in a certain way that you could possibly set over there. It would bring an eye-attracting display that people could be attracted to, and it just might create more traffic for your store. That's why I chose you. I will find a bakery. I wanted to ask you first. I wanted to give you the first opportunity. I think it would be a wonderful idea if we gave this a try. And let's see if there's some traffic that'll come in from buying these cupcakes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I completely understand. So here's what I say to you guys that possibly are listening and you're out there in the professional world and you're trying to sell something. I believe in those cupcakes so much that I am not going to stop until a bakery says yes to me. I don't want them in every store. I only want them in certain stores. Maybe it's a grocery store. So when you're out there and you're prospecting and you're asking questions, make sure you're showing your interest and your belief system, and you're asking good quality questions. And having an understanding of what he's really saying. He really does have 3 or 4 different kinds of cupcakes. You get that. These will complement those. These are specifically designed with a special icing that I've created that my mother showed me as a little girl. Create a story about what you're doing. Tell your story to people. Get your testimony ready. If you're selling advertising, figure out how you would use this advertising and how you can apply that testimony to who you're selling to. If you're selling a car, come up with your story of how you would want that car, where you would take that car, why you personally, internally. Cars are emotional, they're beautiful, they're sexy, they're hot. There are different types of cars for different types of people and different types of needs that they have. So you become involved in your product or service, but I'm telling you, the key word I'm trying to get across is believe. You got to believe in it. You got to believe in your life. If you don't believe in what you're doing in your life, you have an amazing opportunity to start on Fantastic Friday, press reset